Good morning, students. Today we are going to learn about the stem, its modification, and leaf and its modification. The stem, ascending part of the axis bearing branches, leaves, flowers, and fruits. The stem grows above the ground surface, so it's growing upward. It is ascending part of the embryo axis or the plant axis, and it has branches, leaves, flowers, and fruits. It develops from the plumule of the embryo. Earlier we have seen the root develops from the radicle and the stem or the shoot system develops from the plumule. On the stem, we have nodes and internodes. Node is the region of the stem where leaves are born, and the internode is the region between two nodes. Let us see the functions of stem. Spreading out branches, conducts water, minerals, and food prepared by leaves. These are the normal functions. Apart from that, certain stems are modified for certain special functions. Modification of stem for storage of food. Underground stems of potato, ginger, turmeric, colocasia store food to overcome unfavorable conditions. Please note the point here. All these are stems, but they grow under the soil. They are underground stems, not aerial stems. And these underground stems, they store food material in them, and this food material helps to overcome unfavorable conditions. The next modification is for support. Stem tendrils which develop from axillary buds are slender and spirally coiled structures that help plants to climb. Examples are cucumber, pumpkins, watermelon, grapevines, etc. Certain plants have weak stems. So the stem is weak, it cannot stand erect or straight. It needs help or support, and for that the stem tendrils are developed. These green colored, slender, spirally coiled structures, they develop from the axillary bud which is present in the axil of the leaf. And these structures, they catch hold of the support and help the plant to climb. The next is modification for protection. Again, axillary buds get converted into woody, straight and pointed thorns that protect the plant from browsing animals. The examples are citrus, bougainvillea. Here you can see this is the leaf and this is the main stem. The V-shaped structure of the stem and the leaf, in between that, this is the axillary bud which has converted into a thorn. So, for protection of the plant from herbivorous animals, this axillary bud gets converted into thorn and gives protection to the plant. The next modification is for photosynthesis. We know that photosynthesis is the main function of the leaf, but in certain plants, the leaves are very small or less in number. In that case, the stem becomes photosynthetic and prepares the food. The example is cactus plant or Opuntia plant. You can see here, this is the Opuntia plant. Here, this green colored flat structure is the stem. It is modified stem for photosynthesis. Modification for photosynthesis. It is seen plants which grow in arid regions where there is scarcity of water modify their stems into flattened or fleshy cylindrical structures that contain chlorophyll and carry out photosynthesis. The examples, all cactus plants, in that the common one is Opuntia, Euphorbia. The another modification is modification for vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation means from any part of the plant, say the root, stem, leaves, the another plant develops, that is vegetative propagation. Here we have certain examples. Underground stems of grass, strawberry, spread to new niches, and when old plant dies, new plants are formed. Here you can see in grass, this is common grass which is here called as a runner, because here the stem grows parallel to the soil surface, and wherever this stem touches the soil from that nodal region, the roots develop and the new plant is formed. In case of another plant like strawberry, here you can see stolons are there in mint and jasmine also. In mint and jasmine, slender lateral branches arising from main axis grow aerially for some time, arc downwards to touch the ground. Here you can see this is the main stem. From that the branch is forming an arc-like structure, and such when it touches the ground for some time it grows in the air. Aerially it grows and then it grows again the underground, giving rise to the new plant. In case of Pistia, the aquatic plant, these offsets develop. These structures, they are the offsets which are the lateral branches. Then in case of banana chrysanthemum, the suckers develop. Lateral branches grow horizontally under the soil and give rise to leafy shoots in banana and chrysanthemum. Here you can see the lateral branches are growing under the soil surface. They are called as suckers. So these are the modifications for vegetative propagation. Now the next is about the leaf. Leaf is a lateral flattened structure that develops from node and does the function of photosynthesis. It is dorso-ventrally flat structure. All the leaves, they develop from the node region of the stem. Now, a typical leaf has three main parts. Leaf base. Leaf base is the part where the leaf attaches to the stem. Here you can see. This is the leaf base. This is the petiole and the leaf is joining to the stem. This point where the leaf joins to the stem, that part is called as leaf base. And it may have two small leaf-like structures which are called as stipules. This is leaf base. and here this is one small leaf-like structure and the other is on this side. So these are the stipules. Leaf base expands in a sheath-like structure in monocot plants, and that sheath-like structure covers the nodal region. While in case of some leguminous plants, the leaf base becomes swollen, and such a leaf base is called pulvinus. The next part of the leaf is petiole. This cylindrical structure is petiole. This petiole helps to hold the lamina to the sunlight. And the third main part, that this is the main green dorsoventrally flattened part of the leaf, this is called as lamina or leaf blade. It is green part with veins and veinlets. This is the main one, that is called as midrib, and these structures, these are the veins, and the smaller ones are the veinlets. So the lamina is a green part which has veins and veinlets, and these veins are the important channels for transport of water, minerals and food. So these three parts of the leaf are important. The next part is venation. Venation is nothing but the arrangement of veins and veinlets in lamina. There are two types of venation. One is reticulate venation. You can see in this. This is the main midrib. These are the veins and the smaller ones are the veinlets. Now all these forming a reticulate or network like structure in the lamina, and that is why this type of venation is called as reticulated venation, and such venation is seen in dicot plants. While the other one is called as parallel venation, because all the other veins which are there, they all are parallel to the midrib, and such parallel venation is seen in monocot plants. Now let us see types of leaves. Two main types of leaves are considered as simple and compound leaf. The simple leaf, it consists of a single lamina, while a compound leaf consists of several leaflets. Now what does it mean? Here you can see in this diagram, this lamina is intact. It is not divided. It is one intact structure. On the other hand, if you see in this is a compound leaf in which this structure is not intact here. So here the lamina is divided into small leaflets, and such leaf is called as compound leaf. The bud is usually present at the leaf axil. Here in the axil of the leaf, that means where the petiole joins to the stem, at that leaf base there is the bud, axillary bud is there, while such bud is not present in the axil of leaflets. Here such bud is not present in the axil of leaflet. The stipules may be present at the base. and stipules are not present at the base of the leaflet. Here you can see, here the stipule is present because this is one full leaf, but here the stipules are not present at the base of the leaflet. The examples are mango, peepal tree, guava tree. They have simple leaf whereas the lamina is intact, it is not divided. At the base there can be the axillary bud and the stipules. These are the two types, simple one and the compound one. Now the compound leaf are again of two types. One is pinnately compound and the other is palmately compound. Pinnately compound leaves, they have their arrangement is on the both sides of the midrib. Here you can see this is the midrib and on both sides the smaller leaflets are arranged. But palmately compound leaf, in this the leaflets are attached at the tip of the petiole. This is the petiole and these leaflets, 5 leaflets, are attached at one point, that is the tip of the petiole, and hence it is called as palmately compound leaf. So the leaves are of two types, simple leaf, compound leaf. Again the compound leaf is pinnately compound and palmately compound. Next part is phyllotaxy. Phyllotaxy means the pattern of arrangement of leaves on stem. How the leaves are arranged on the stem. First type is alternate. In this, single leaf arises at each node. So here you can see this is the diagram. This is the node from where one leaf is coming. This is the another node from which the another leaf is coming. That way, if you see in this diagram, from one node only one leaf is coming out and they are alternately arranged. So this type of phyllotaxy is called as alternate. This type is seen in sunflower, mustard, China rose. The next is opposite type. As it is said, from a node, a pair of leaves arises and they are arranged opposite to each other. So alternate, only one leaflet, only one leaf at each node, alternately arranged. In opposite, two leaves at a node and they are arranged opposite to each other. Examples are Calotropis, guava. And the third type is whorled phyllotaxy. Here you can see from a single node more than two leaves are arising. So here from this node 5 leaves are developed. From another node again 5 leaves are developed. This forms a whorl-like arrangement and that is why it is called as whorled type of arrangement. So the example is Alstonia. Let us see the modifications of leaves. Tendrils for climbing in pea plant. Here leaf tendrils, as you can see in pea plant, these tendrils they help the pea plant for climbing. The another is spines for defense as in cactus. Here you can see this is the opuntia commonly called as cactus plant. And in that, these small structures, these are the spines. So these spines, they protect the plant, so they are helping as defense structures. Storage of food, as in onion and garlic. These are the bulbs which grow underground, but the leaves, green colored leaves, they grow above the ground surface, and at the base of the leaf the food is stored. So onion and garlic are the examples of modification of leaf for storage of food. Yet another example is Australian acacia, where petiole becomes leaf. Here, this is the plant which is called as Australian acacia. In this, the small leaflets of compound leaf, these are short-lived. These leaves, they remain for very short period of time. So for photosynthesis, the petiole gets converted into a leaf. This petiole does not remain a cylindrical structure. It becomes flat leaf-like structure and does the function of photosynthesis. So this is one more modification, and such a flattened petiole in Australian acacia, it is called as phyllodes. The last example is of insectivorous plants. Pitcher plant, then Venus flytrap. In these, the leaves are modified. Here we have the example of pitcher plant. This is the lamina. This is the petiole of the plant leaf, and this is the leaf base. Leaf base, petiole, and the lamina. So here the leaf is modified into this pitcher. In this, the insect falls, which is digested, and the plant feeds on that. So this is how the insectivorous plants, the leaves of insectivorous plants, they digest the insects. So these all are modifications of leaves. Next time we will see about the inflorescence. Thank you.